Hello, thank you for coming to Savory Library's fourth session of the Mental Health Chess Lessons. Today's session will focus on strategies and tips at the end of the game. This will teach you how to recognize and take advantage of opportunities in order to accomplish your goal. The purpose of the game is to put the king in checkmate. This is where he is being threatened and there is no way for him to get out of the threat. In order to put your the opponent's king in checkmate, there are a few simple strategies and basic tips that can help. First, use your opponent's other pieces against him. Remember, the king can only move one square at a time. Therefore, if there's a piece next to the king, he is automatically blocked off. You can put your rook in front of the bishop or the knight because they do not take moving forward. Remembering how your opponent's pieces move and then using them to block off the king will help cut the board, making it easier to capture him and checkmate. In order to achieve a checkmate, you have to attack. Using your pieces in combination where they protect and back up each other is how you want to do this attack. Putting the queen here with the rook here is one such example. However, you must be careful when it gets down to the end of the game not to create what is known as a stalemate. For a defensive player, stalemate is sometimes the best you could hope for. A stalemate occurs when it is one side's turn to move, however, that side cannot make a move. In this scenario, with only these two pieces on the board, if it were white's move, there is nowhere white can move. It currently is not in check. However, by rule, it cannot move into check. Therefore, it is stalemate and the game is a draw. Offensive players, you want to be careful to avoid this situation. Defensive players, if that is the best you can hope to get out of the situation, then instead of giving up, it is best to try to fight for that position. Another tip at the end of the game is advancement of the pawns. If you remember, pawns move directly ahead, and if they make it to the very end of the board, they could turn into another piece, usually another queen. As the game goes on and pieces are removed from the board and it opens up more, getting your pawn to the other end will get you a very powerful piece in a very advantageous position. If both sides have already lost their queens, it will allow you to have one and your opponent not to. So always look for ways and opportunities to move a pawn forward. If you do not have a move to make, you don't know what to do, just advance one of your pawns. This can also be helpful when it comes to trapping the king. As pawns are able to take the king and the king cannot put itself into a threatening position, advancing your pawns will cut off where the king is allowed to move, thus making it harder for him when you're attacking to get into checkmate. In this scenario, the queen has the king in check, and while he does have several moves he can make, one he cannot make is straight back because of this pawn. A simple end of the game attack is simply using your queen and your rook, or both rooks. Because the rook moves straight lines vertically, they can cut off whole sections of the board. So one way you will often see a checkmate being established is in a scenario such as this. This rook has the king in check. And the king cannot move backwards because of this rook. It can only move forward. Now this rook has the king in check, and it cannot move backwards because of this one. The end goal checkmate. At the end of the game, this is a common attack that the offensive player with the piece advantage will do because the king is unable to do anything other than move into this last row, which will then put him in checkmate. So as we can see, when it comes to the end of the game, it's very important to make smart decisions when you make your moves to take advantage of the opportunities in order to win the game, and not to end up wasting your opportunity and turning what could be a victory into a stalemate. And as we can see, the way you take advantage of your opportunities is through trying to block the king, restricting where he can move, and attacking him, using your pieces in combination with each other, where they both protect each other and cut off other parts of the board. It is also important to remember that these strategies and tips are not limited to the end of the game. If at any point during the game you see the opportunity to attack, you see the opportunity to capture the opponent's king, it's very important to take advantage of that. It is always important to take advantage of opportunities that are presented to you and make smart decisions so that you can get the results that you desire. Thank you.